Hi everyone, welcome to another episode on Unscripted. Today's guest is one of the toughest and most passionate players to ever pull on a Tigers jersey. Aloka Jr., who went on to captain his club, lead his state, and proudly represent Lebanon. With over 300 NRL games, a premiership in 2005, and a reputation as one of the game's most durable and crafty hookers, he's a true West Tigers legend. Please welcome to the show, Robbie Farah. How's it going, brother?
Robert, I haven't heard that in a while.
No one calls you Robert, eh?
Nah.
So when I was Googling you, I'm like, Robert Farah? I'm like, I've always called you Robbie. I never
I
thought
need to
of
get
that.
that changed, actually. I've thought about that. Because
I
all my
see.
documentation's Robert Peter. My middle name's Peter, so
Oh, yeah.
after my dad. So it's Robert Peter Farah, which is annoying. So no one calls me Robert. So I actually want to get it legally changed to Robbie.
I like it. I like it. What have you been up to?
Lots, actually. Traveling a fair bit, enjoying the things that I never got to do while I played footy, whilst I played footy. So I've been overseas a fair bit this year, went to America twice. I was in Europe for about 5 weeks, which was amazing. So never done a European summer before, obviously with the footy season running all the way through our winter, their
Yeah.
summer. So that was something that I've wanted to do for a long time, and got over there for about 5 weeks, which was incredible. Travelled alone, just got a car, and
Did ya?
yeah, it
Where'd
was
you go?
unreal. I was in London and then Paris, drove all the way down through France, down south and across to the west into Spain, and then flew to Portugal and then finished off in the Greek islands.
Oh, I love that. I went to Spain in
good.
April. I went to watch Real Madrid and Alaves, and
Mm.
I went by myself. It was actually refreshing. I didn't realize how refreshing it was going to be. I was actually a bit nervous about
Yeah,
it.
I was
don't know
too.
anyone
Yeah,
there
I was anxious.
speaking
Yeah.
foreign language.
Yeah.
But,
But the good thing about traveling alone is sometimes when you're with mates and that, you're waiting for other people to,
Yeah.
they want to do something you don't want to do or whatever it may be.
yeah.
Whereas on your own, you just make your own choices. You wake up, you do what you want. You want to get in the car and drive, you can. If you want to stay somewhere longer, you can. So it was quite refreshing.
Did you notice when you're driving, like everyone speeds, flies?
Scary.
Yeah.
Scary.
So I was driving to San Sebastian. I got like one of those Euro cars.
How good San Sebastian?
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Food,
Best food I've ever had.
wine,
Yeah.
beaches, everything. So I'm driving in, and I reckon I was probably 10 minutes into the trip. And you know how everything's opposite. So obviously the left lane is the fast lane. I'm hanging out in the left lane because obviously I'm used to it being the slow lane. This van was up my ass, and I didn't pay any attention. You know how you got the side lane, that little side, but it's not even a full lane, right? You know what the guy did? Instead of going right and overtaking me, he took that lane, swiped the side mirror, and just kept driving like nothing happened.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck happened there? Anyway, brother, today's a celebration, not only for your great career, but for getting you on this podcast. So I thought
you've been busting my balls
Who
for
said that
months,
about-
and I've
you
been
know-
reluctant to do podcasts. But
Why?
I'm enjoying just being out of footy and out of the spotlight, and I don't like talking. I'm not a big talker, to be honest. So,
Do you reckon like you just, not that you're a polarizing character, but like whenever you say something, it kind of always gets misconstrued?
and that too, I
Yeah.
think. I think that's happened through my career. So now I'm better off just shutting my mouth, to be honest. So I avoid people like you, but you're a pest. You won't leave me alone.
We're mates. We're mates.
Yeah.
So as mates, let's pour a glass, brother. Here you go.
First thing I've had this morning. Breakfast of champions.
Cheers.
Cheers.
So I actually forgot how to drink this. You just sip it, eh?
It's actually quite nice.
That's actually really good. That's
Very
actually really good.
Yeah, it's very good.
Did you make this yourself? Homemade. What's it made out of? You would know.
Grapes and then aniseed. That's how you get the licorice taste.
So if you were to have that with no water, you couldn't.
You can,
But
you'll
you'd
probably
be-
burn up your inside. My dad makes this. He's made it every year. Yeah, it's
Really?
my dad's, because he tests how much alcohol's in it. I think it's about 67% alcohol. My dad's one.
Oh, the second sip was actually worse.
I love it.
That's strong. That's going to go right through me.
So I had a mate over my place a couple of weeks ago, and he's Serbian. Steven Babic, he's the wrestle coach at the Tigers, one of the greatest blokes you ever meet. And he came over my house. I said, "I'll pour you an udder." And he literally had about 3 sips and was snoring on the couch. He was gone. He woke up at 6 o'clock the next morning. Still on my couch.
Mixed, but yeah, not straight.
Like that, yeah, mixed with water.
Yeah, okay. How do you make it at home though? I don't understand the process.
Oh, there's a whole process. My dad, it's called like a rakwe, like a kenon. So you smash the grapes, then you let the grapes ferment for a couple of weeks.
When you say smash it, you know how like to make wine, you stomp on the
Yeah,
grapes?
well, growing
Same
up
thing.
as kids, we used to stomp on the grapes.
No way.
Yeah, and then you let them ferment in a barrel for weeks, and then you boil them down until it turns to alcohol, and then you distill it with fennel seeds, or aniseed.
Yeah.
Not fennel seeds, but that's the same taste. The aniseed, and yeah, my dad does it. I think 3 times. He distills it 3 times with aniseed.
Yeah.
And then yeah, you get hot up.
I've seen you have it on the barbecue. You used to place it on the barbecue to warm it up.
No, that was just for
Oh, you're fucking good.
just to warm it up.
I'm thinking it's like traditional way of drinking it.
That's just for the photo.
Oh, what's been happening with your business? 247.
Going good, going really good actually. So we started that. Jai's my business partner. So we started that about 9 years ago, and he's been running the business while I was still involved in footy.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's gone from strength to strength. It obviously started initially purely sports based. We'd create experiences around Super Bowls, Formula Ones, and it grew into European soccer and English Premier League, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And that's evolved now. We do anything, lifestyle, leisure, experiential, a lot of corporate events as well. So it's just a high-end leisure and travel business. So it's pretty fun. You get to do some pretty cool things, a lot of socializing, a lot of travel, which is good. So I'm enjoying being out of footy and being able to get into that side of the business and really help grow that.
A couple of moments I want to speak to you about. Obviously, you're a proud Liverpool supporter. Fuck, I hope they don't go back to back this year, but I'm a bit fucking nervous. You went to the Champions League final in Madrid, wasn't it?
I did, yeah, 2019.
How did you get to do that? Because weren't you playing still? Or
I was still playing. It was my last season, yeah. And it was a funny story. So they beat Barcelona in the semi-final. I think you remember when we came back from 3-0 in the first leg.
Unbelievable.
Beat them at Anfield 4-0. And then I looked at the draw, and the weekend of the Champions League final, we had the bye for the Tigers, like just randomly. And we had 4 days off training. So then my brothers are all Liverpool supporters on the WhatsApp group. They're like, we should go, whatever. And then we're trying to get tickets. And then I got to know Steven Gerrard a couple of times when they came out to Sydney to play. And Liverpool got me involved in the PR side of things because they know I'm a supporter. So I got to meet the players. And then when the Socceroos legends were here, legends versus Liverpool legends, Graham Arnold got me in camp as an assistant coach for the Socceroos. And I was socialising anyway. And so I text Steven Gerrard, and I said, mate, I'm after some tickets. I know you get probably 1 million requests. I'm not expecting any favours. Like, I'm happy to pay for it. If anything becomes available, just let me know. I thought, mate, no chance he's going to get me a ticket. Anyway, 2 weeks later, I wake up. I still remember, I checked my phone. I'm laying in bed still, and it was on Instagram. I had a message on my Instagram from Steven Gerrard. He's like, hey, lad, got you a ticket.
No way.
Send me your passport details.
No way.
Whatever. And I was
no
like,
way.
And I was like, I said, all good. He goes, I just got one. I said, what do I owe you? He goes, no, nothing.
No
way. It's on me. Fuck. So he's only got me one. So I'm going to have to travel alone. I said, but how do you knock back a free ticket from Steven Gerrard?
You can't.
Champions League final. So anyway, Madge was our coach, right? So I go into training. And I said to Madge, I said, listen, I've got to talk to you. He said, what's up? I said, we got the bye in a couple of weeks. He goes, yeah. I said, I'm going to go to Madrid. He goes, you fucking going to go where? That was his. He goes, you're going to go where? I said, I want to go to Madrid. He goes, mate, you can't do that. I said, well, mate, this is what's happened. I explained to him. I said, like, this is a once in a lifetime opportunity. Like, if I don't go, like, I'll regret it for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, mate, let me think about it. You know, Madge is the biggest stress head.
Yeah, not only that, but like,
he's been going halfway around the world. What if something happens? I said, mate, like, I'll be professional. I'll look after myself. I'll blah, blah, blah. He goes, let me speak to the senior playing group. And the senior players all knew how important it was to me. And then he came back to me and he's like, mate, you can go. He's like, but you got to book a business class flight. You got to stretch. You got to look after your sleep, blah, blah, blah. Our trainers will give you like a protocol. I said, I'll do whatever you want. So literally got on it. We finished training on the Wednesday. We had the bye. We had Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off training. Went straight to the airport Wednesday afternoon. Flew to Madrid. Got there Thursday morning. Obviously, the game was Saturday night. they won 2-0. Unbelievable experience. And then got on a plane Sunday morning and flew home. So, yeah, it was pretty cool.
Did you party? Get a chance to party? Not really, because you have to respect what Madge.
No, well, he told me he didn't want me to be jet lagged, right? So, to be fair, I was partying all night, so I was still on Sydney time. So, when I got back, jet lag wasn't a problem.
Did the media notice you were gone?
Yeah, it was in the media that I was going, because of the story about Gerrard getting me a ticket. But we had the buy, right? So, some people, a lot of the boys, go to Fiji or Noosa or wherever it may be, family time. Like I'm a single bloke, and all that. So I wanted to go to Madrid. And
I remember when Newcastle were going bad, and I feel the boys went to Bali, and they got absolutely roasted for it.
But that's your time off, and you need that through a year. The NRL season's such a long and draining year, physically and mentally, that you need to have that break. So and that was just what I wanted to do, and I went and I came back, and to be honest,
unbelievable.
Yeah, it was, as I said, looking back now, some trips you go on, you're like, oh, I wish I didn't go. Like looking back, and I was so glad that I went, because it was something I'll remember for the rest of my life.
Core memory, 100%. Yeah. It wasn't the first thing I recall there was another moment you asked him to go on another trip. Did you ask him to go on the Super Bowl or something, Miami, or was that after footy?
No, that was probably after footy.
Did you go to Miami after footy? Why did I think it was during footy?
Miami was. What year was Miami? 2020. That was just after I retired.
Just after you retired.
Yeah, that was a couple of weeks before COVID.
Tell me about that trip. Tell me about that trip.
I know what you're going to ask about that trip. I know what you're going to ask about. I guess that's the cool thing about having a business like 247 is you get to take clients over to these sorts of events, and we do Super Bowl every year. So I've been to, I think, 3 Super Bowls now. Miami was pretty cool. 2020 was literally, I think, 2 weeks before the whole world shut down because of COVID.
Oh, yeah.
So we were over there in Miami, and you started to hear these things about COVID in the news, and we were just, whatever, just another flu strain sort of thing. And came back from Miami, and 2 weeks later, everyone was stuck at home. So, Miami was fun.
Yeah. You're pretty confident to message your tennis players. We're here now. We're here. What happened there? What was the name again? Eugene.
Genie Bouchard.
That's it.
So that honestly, that was just a piss take. That was just a bit of fun with the boys. We were drunk. We'd been drinking all day.
Public display bar, But
that was the whole thing, right? And then so the history of Genie Bouchard, I don't know if you know her story. Remember the Super Bowl when the Patriots were down 28-0 at halftime or
Atlanta
something?
Falcons.
That's right. And then some guy on Twitter messaged her and said, if Patriots come back and win, I get to take you on a date. And she's like, deal.
No.
She replied, she said, yeah, this is a true story.
Oh, I didn't know
that.
But
they came back and won. So then she lived up to her end of the bargain and went on a date with him. So then we were in, and this is all because of a journo here, actually. So I'm going to throw him under a bus. It was Michael Carianis.
Yes.
So we were in Miami, and I'm drunk, right? And then he messages me and goes, Genie Bouchard is in Miami too. You should message her. And I was like, all right. And like I said, I was full of piss.
Liquid confidence.
Yeah. And I was with the boys, and the boys were like, just message her, have a laugh, who cares? So I messaged her, and I wrote something stupid like, I can't even remember. I don't remember.
You said, if I rub you 3 times,
no, I didn't.
I get the
I was if I rub you, do I get
some JD and whatnot? Oh, fuck,
anyway,
that's funny.
And the boys were like, this is going to be on Fox Sports in and now. I said, I hope so. Like, I didn't care. I'd retired from footy. We were having a laugh. I was in Miami. I was loving life, and it was all because of Michael Carianis. So. Never got a reply, so she brushed me. But it was a good laugh. But then, funny, after that, I had Sportsbet hitting me up. They're like, can we do a promo on this and make fun of it and whatever? And I was like, man.
If I rob you, do I get 3 wishes?
You can never get rid of anything off the
Oh, unlucky. That's fucking hilarious. That is a well done, Pedro. Well done. Oh, anyway, shoot your shot.
Never drink and Twitter.
No. What else has been happening with yourself?
As I said, just traveling. Like I said, just it's nice now, sort of, and you'd understand too. Is when you play footy, your life is so structured. You're always told what to do, where to be, what to eat.
So true.
So now, just having that freedom to schedule my own day, to make my own choices. It's been really refreshing. Like I said, I've been traveling a lot with my business. We do a lot of corporate things as well. So domestically, I was in Brisbane last week. I'm in Auckland next week. As I mentioned, traveled America twice this year, Europe. So it's been good. It's different. I'm doing a bit in the corporate world as well, which is it's different. So working in the city a bit, which is nice.
Yeah.
A lot of long lunches, dinners, things like that. A lot of networking, but no, I'm really enjoying it.
Would you ever go back into coaching or nah? Like, is that something you just tried and didn't really?
Um,
Because I know when we had you for Lebanon,
yeah,
like,
I'm still coaching the Lebanon
Yeah.
side, which is something I'm really passionate about. We've obviously got the World Cup next year, and we've got some test matches at the end of this year, and I think that that's a passion project for me too. Like, obviously, I'm really proud of my Lebanese heritage. I wouldn't have been the player I was in the NRL if I never got the opportunity to play for Lebanon as an 18-year-old. Like that springboarded my career at a rapid rate. So I want to give back to Lebanon Rugby League and the Lebanese community, and there's so many really good young Lebanese kids out there, as we see now. Like when I made my debut in the NRL, there were maybe there was Hazem, then there was myself, and a couple of other
others.
there was like a Georgian Nadira, Michael Leisha, a couple of players. But now you look at the NRL and you got your Mitch Moseses, your Adam Deweys, Alex Twal, some young kids coming through like Tony Suka, Jordan Samrani. There's a lot of really good young Lebanese players out there, and a lot more coming through the lower grades as well. So I think we can be a really strong nation in the next 5 to 10 years. When you look at the development of your Tongas, your Samoas, Fiji, those sorts of nations, there's no reason why Lebanon can't be up there competing against those countries, and then eventually against your Australias and your Englands and New Zealands.
It's a bit of a head scratcher because, like you said, there weren't many Lebanese boys that were making it to the NRL level. I don't know why that is, but I want to ask you. You're the youngest of 5, right?
Mm-hmm.
Were your parents always more on the traditional approach, like go to school, go to uni, get a job? Like rugby league, sport in general was never kind of a priority for you. Is that true?
Yeah, not even a priority. It was like they didn't want me to play.
Why?
I don't know. I just think that old school mentality, like education, go to uni, get a degree. Especially with Lebo parents, I think that they want you to be a lawyer, a doctor, or engineer, whatever it may be.
Builder.
A what?
A builder.
A builder. But and I think my dad never had an education, so I think he wanted to give his children the opportunities he never had, and they probably didn't see a future in rugby league. They didn't understand that there was a pathway there. So for me, even when I did want to play and I said to them, I want to play rugby league, it was like education first, rugby league second. If you don't study, if you don't do well in school or go to university, you're not playing footy or league. And I played all sports, not just league, but league was the one I sort of gravitated towards, and I realised I could make a career out of. And
When did you
but it
realize
was always
that?
education first.
When did you realise that?
It's funny because I was never really like the best player growing up. There were a lot better players than me through my age groups, but I was just obsessed and I was stubborn. And my brothers would tell me I couldn't make it, and it's not. They'd almost laugh at me. And I remember, I was a pretty determined kid, and I used to have Post-it notes on my dash in my car. On my mirror in my bathroom or in my bedroom, I used to say, play NRL as a teenager. And my brothers used to laugh at me. My friends used to laugh at me. But that was almost like reading that every day was like my positive reinforcement. And I just convinced myself, I'm going to play NRL as a teenager. And I did in the end. And it was through pure obsession. I always say to people, you don't have to be good at something. You got to be obsessed. And if you're obsessed with something, then you eventually become good at it. And that was me. I was never the best kid growing up, but when my mates after school were hanging out with girls from the school next door, or doing whatever, I was going straight home from school, going down the footy park, kicking balls, or practicing my passing, or whatever it may be, because I was just like, this is what I want, and nothing's going to stop me. So I was really determined, and it became an obsession. And as I said, I had mates that were better than me, but through my work ethic, I think I just sort of went past them.
How much of your resilience and competitiveness kind of stems from your Lebanese culture, you reckon?
Yeah, I think it's fair to say
Yeah.
a fair bit of it. I think it's, I guess, synonymous with our culture. And you said there's so many successful Lebanese people, not only in sport, but in a lot of different industries around the world. And it comes from that working class ethic. Like I look at my dad, and you got to respect what they did. It's sort of mind blowing to think what they did back then, 50, 60 years ago, is move into another country where you don't speak the language, you
Yeah.
don't have an education, you don't have a cent to your name, and you build a life for yourself and your kids, and you put your kids, you give your kids an opportunity or a life that they never had. So you can't do that without, as you said, the determination, the work ethic that they had, and yeah, it's pretty incredible to think how life would have been different for me, for yourself, if our parents never did that.
I agree, man.
So yeah, quite fortunate, and I'm sure a lot of those characters have been instilled into myself and my siblings.
Look, you've had a great career. There's no ways about it. And I think for you as well, having to debut at 19 years old, you're a Lebanese kid. Not many Lebanese kids going around, and I feel like particularly that era, I feel like you always had to kind of break some barriers and stigmas and stereotypes. Being Lebanese kid, did you find that? Did you find the transition into first grade into footy, did that kind of set you back because who you were?
Not really. Like you hear stories about, I get it all the time where you bump into other Lebanese people and they're like, oh, my son would have made it, but
Yeah,
they were racist or they're Lebanese. Like, to be honest, and like I mean this with all due respect, like I think that's a load of shit. Like I think if you're good enough, you'll make it.
yeah.
I think anyone that says, oh, they were faced with racism or oh, doctor told me I was injured, I could never play again. Like they're just excuses for me.
Mm.
Um, because as I mentioned before, like if you want to make it, you don't take no for an answer.
I agree.
Yeah, you find a way. And for me, like I never felt that because I guess I just had my blinkers on and I was determined to make it. So yeah, I hear a million stories about those things. I've never seen it myself, and I think other people that may have felt it, I think that's just a bit of a cop out.
Because you made it at such a young age, and because you had all those poster notes, you had it so embedded into your mind that you were going to debut as a teenager. When you actually came to the moment, did it feel like you're already mentally rehearsing this moment over and over again, and it wasn't that much of a shock to you when you debuted? Like, were you
No,
ready for the moment?
no, it happened quite quickly actually, and I remember it like it was yesterday, to be honest. So I've told the story a few times, but yeah, we played flag, came back. I played for Lebanon as an 18-year-old. As I said, we went to Lebanon, played a test match. Hazem Mazri was our captain, and Johnny Elias picked me as the halfback as an 18-year-old. And then I came back from that tour to play Jersey flag, and I was like, how easy is this? Because I was just playing against grown men.
Yeah.
I was coming back to play under 19s, and I just found the pace of the game so slow. And flag back then was like an eight-week season.
Was it?
So I played flag, finished the season. I made my New South Wales Cup debut on the Sunday at Cogger against the Dragons, and then we had a midweek game on the Wednesday night, Balmain versus West, at Leichhardt. Played that, and then got asked to go train with the NRL side on the Thursday morning or Friday morning. I was like, this is weird. And then they said, "Oh, come back for captain's run on the Saturday," and went to captain's run at Saturday at Leichhardt, and then Tim Sheens, I remember, called me into his coach's room at Leichhardt, and he said, I'm thinking about playing you tomorrow because Robbie Mears was in doubt with an injury, and he was the hooker on the bench. He said, but you can't wear those white boots. So back then, it was just no one had white boots or coloured
Really?
boots like we have these days. It was just like black boots. And I remember I had these white Gilberts, the rugby union boots.
Oof, the studs were that thick?
Yeah.
Oh, no
And
way.
and I didn't have a boot sponsor or anything, right? So I bought these boots, and I was wearing these boots, and I was quite a confident, cocky kid, and I was wearing these white boots. And Tim, that was the first thing he said to me. He goes, if you play tomorrow, you can't wear those boots. I said, I'll wear whatever you want. Anyway, so then we did captain's run, told me I was playing, and I remember the first call I made was to my brother. As I mentioned, my brothers used to make fun of me and tell me I wasn't going to play, and one of my brothers in particular, he was real negative to like he goes, "You're not playing," and he goes, "I'll bet you $1,000 I'm not going to reach my goal of playing as a teenager." So the first call I made was to my brother, and I said, "What are you doing?" He said, "Oh, whatever." I said, "Mate, you better get to the bank." He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "You owe me $1,000." And he like paused.
No.
Yeah, he paused, and he didn't really know if I was being serious or not. And he just went, "Fuck off." I said, "Man, I'm playing tomorrow. You owe me $1,000."
No.
Yeah. So that was the first call I made, and then I remember I rang my Jersey Flegg coach, Dave Kelly, who was a mentor for me, and told him I was playing, and then I went home and I got my white boots and I coloured them in with a black texter.
No, you didn't.
Because I didn't want to go buy new boots, and then because I wouldn't have been able to wear them in before the game, I thought, and you can't wear new boots; you sort of get blisters and.
Yeah.
So I literally got black texter coloured in my boots, coloured in black.
Try
and
find a photo. Try find a photo of that if you can.
And then made my debut the next day. So yes, quite surreal. Like as you said, a young kid, where my dream was to play, and then in the blink of it just happened, and I was almost like, is this real? So it was sort of a pinch yourself moment. It was a very proud moment, and a day I'll never forget.
Tell me about the moment you told your parents.
I actually don't remember. I don't think my parents understood the
gravity of the
gravity of it. I remember telling my brothers, obviously, all my mates I grew up playing with, my Jersey Flegg coach. It's funny you say that. I actually don't remember my parents' reaction or whether they understood how big a moment it was, for myself.
It would have been a big week emotionally, anyway. So you would have been telling that many people, having that many
It
interactions.
was only the day before. Yeah, I found out the day before,
There
and
you
I was
go.
playing on the Sunday. But I remember the next day, the actual game. We lost that game, but I came on with about 12 minutes before half time. And then I remember going in the half time just with the biggest stitch. It was the speed of the game was so fast. But we ended up losing, and then I remember afterwards was a good night with my mates. And yeah, I would have been happy to play one game. I think if I just played that game and was done, I'd have been like, I've played an NRL game. But so it's sort of pretty surreal now to look back. And you only sort of look back on your career after you've retired, but to look back now and look back at what I got to achieve and how fortunate I was, it still doesn't feel real, if that makes sense. It's sort of a bit surreal going, I was quite lucky to sort of have the career I did.
You also you were lucky 100%, because I know how competitive you are, but also you're quite unlucky in a sense, because just going through your scripts, going through all your stats and stuff, you're over 300 games, you've won a premiership, you're a dual international, played New South Wales over 15 times, but you still could have achieved more, I feel. I think it was in 2007, you were 1 point behind JT in the Daily M. And 2010, you're 1 point as well.
That year against JT in the Daily M, so I was 9 points in front with 5 rounds to go.
Oh.
Got a hip pointer injury, so I was getting needled to play every game. And then one of the games, the doc actually needled my hip, and he hit the nerve. And we were playing Souths at Leichhardt, and I couldn't feel my leg. Literally couldn't feel my leg. I had to come off after 5 minutes. Ended up losing JT by 1 point. And the year before that, up until that point, no one had ever the highest points tally to ever win the Daily M was 32 points. I got 35 points that year and lost. Not that I'm holding a grudge or anything.
No, not at all.
Look, you don't play the game for individual
No, of course not.
awards and stuff, but
it's good recognition though.
yeah,
That's what I brought it up.
and I remember that year, and we didn't even make the semis that year, but I played some really good footy.
And 2010 as well.
2010 was one of those years.
Carney,
Yeah, but 2010, to be honest, and you'd know, when you play games as a player, sometimes you get 3 Daily M points. You're like, how did I get 3 Daily M points? I played shit.
Yeah.
Sometimes the judging, the point system's a bit weird. But that year in 2010, to be honest, I shouldn't have been anywhere close to winning the Daily M. I got within 1 point of Todd Carney. But I remember looking back at that year going, how did I pull 3 points in that game?
Yeah,
right. Or how did I pull 2 points in that game? So I think sometimes judges just give you points because you're a halfback or a hooker or something. So.
And then the next one.
Yeah, 2007 was the year I should have won it.
The next one was, if Cameron Smith doesn't play, Like you're arguably probably one of the best hookers to ever play the game. Like which you are, you still are, but I feel like that's kind of shadowed a bit because of Smithy. Like you guys always head to head in Origin Arena, internationals as well. You always together, but he was always kind of the first choice. Like I just wanted to think to myself. I just thought to myself, if Smithy doesn't play, like how different it would have been, and
Yeah.
how you would have been known to the public, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think
Or
so.
recognized,
Obviously,
you would have been recognized a bit more.
I probably would have got more opportunities with Australia. Like I toured with Australia, I think 6 or 7 times. I only played 8 test matches because I was a captain of the Emus most of the time. I was only there sort of as a backup to Smithy. But yeah, I guess that's the way things happen. He was quite fortunate to have a sick like come. Well, I was unfortunate to be playing whilst he was. He was in a successful team down in Melbourne and Queensland, so he was always the first choice there, and I just had to bide my time and never got too many opportunities. But we were very different players. Like he was quite, calm and cool under pressure, whereas I was a bit more flamboyant, a bit more attacking than he was. Just different styles. But we brought out the best in each other. Like I was always trying to, I guess, get one over him. He was always trying to get one over me. So it was that sort of competitive rivalry there. And I'm proud of the opportunities I got for Australia and New South Wales and also for Lebanon. So I can't complain. I ticked. And for me, when it came to retiring at the end of my career, got to a point where I was like, you know what, I've achieved everything I want to. Like I won a grand final. I did so many things that other players would dream of
100%.
or having through their career, and I was like, I'm done. I'm content. Like I've done everything I set out to do.
You know how you said like your number one goal was to debut. After you did debut, where did your mindset shift to? What did you want to do?
I want to be the best player in the game. Like that was the way I was. Like every time I took the field, I'd tell myself I'm the best player on the field today, and that people will see that as an arrogance or whatever, but that was just a self-confidence, and like that was how my mind worked. That I just wanted to dominate any game I played, any team I was in, and I just wanted to be the best I could. And
isn't that funny that like with Australian culture, like if you see a overconfident player on the footy field, like we kind of want to bring him down a peg, but like over you look in the States and you got like
I remember I remember I got hammered one time. I did an article during Origin, and they asked me. They said, "Oh, do you think you're better than Cameron Smith?" Going back to, and I said, "Yeah, I do." I said, "I do think like I said because if I think he's better than me, I've already lost the battle."
Exactly.
Right, mentally in my head, I have to convince myself I'm better than anyone.
Yeah, I agree.
Because if I don't, I've already lost before I go out onto the field, right?
You don't have that competitive nature either.
Yeah. So and I remember the headline was Robbie thinks he's better than Cameron Smith, blah blah blah, and I got hammered for it, right? But it got misconstrued to I was just trying to explain my mindset and where I needed to take myself to be the best I could be, and I didn't think anyone was better than me, but it wasn't that other people weren't better than me, but it was just in my head. I needed to convince myself that no one was better than me, if that makes sense.
It makes total sense.
So yeah, and that was the way I was through my career, right? And that's the way I sort of felt like I had to be.
I respect and love that. 2005, 2004 actually, you did your knee. I completely missed
knee
that.
reconstruction, yeah.
Yeah. So you've come into 2005, fresh start, starting all over again, having to earn that jersey.
Yep.
And then you end up winning the premiership.
Yeah, 2004 was probably the best thing that happened to me, to be honest. I debuted in 2003 and then I had a syndesmosis, so I was out for about 4 months. Came back in 2004. I think I played 3 NRL games and had a knee reconstruction, and then I was off contract. And I was always talented, but I always relied on my talent, I think. But training through 2004 really taught me how to work hard because I knew there were no more second chances after that. I knew coming back from a knee reco, being off contract, if I did my knee again, I was gone.
Yeah.
So I remember I was so disciplined. Like as a 19-year-old, 20-year-old, gave up like no drinking, no partying, whatever. It was just like rehab, like every single day. And I came back like physically stronger. I put on about 6 or 7 kilos like a muscle because I was quite a small kid. And like it just held me in good stead. Came back, my knee was fine after that, and played the first game in reserve grade. my first game back from the knee reco, played round 1 in reserve grade. And then we had the bye round 2, and then Sheensy put me straight in NRL round 3 and played every game until we won the grand final.
What's the highlight in 2005 besides winning a premiership?
The whole year was incredible when you look back at it. What we achieved, where we were favourites to win the wooden spoon at the start of the year, and round 1, like I said, I didn't play round 1. First grade played Para at Homebush, and I remember in the sheds after the game, and Toddy Payton was there, and Para beat us by about 30, and Toddy just looked at me and goes, "Mate, we're going to win the wooden spoon this year." And but then we were very inconsistent. I think halfway through the year we were sitting about 12th or 13th on the ladder. We'd win a game, we'd lose a game, we'd win a game, and then it just all clicked. And we were just we're a really tight group. We enjoyed each other's company off the field, and we formed a really close bond. And as you know, the best teams you're in is where you're connected, willing to work your ass off for each other. You don't want to let your mate down. And we just went on this run of winning. I think we won 8 in a row. Confidence grew, and we were this perfect match of older players, almost older, experienced, but almost, it was weird. Like, I call them rejects. They weren't rejects, but like Brett Hodgson was playing reserve grade at Parramatta, came to Tigers. Pat Richards,
Shane Elford,
Paul Federer, Shane Elford. Then we had the old guys like Scandalis and Mark O'Neill, Benny Galea, who'd been at the club for a long time, had never played semi-final footy. They were the old heads, and then we had these young, flamboyant, sort of confident group of like myself, Benji, Dean Hallertau, Bryce Gibbs, Liam Fulton, Bronson Harrison, all of us coming through. And it was just this perfect match of old and young. And by the end of the year, we were actually unbeatable.
Yeah.
Like, the only team that could beat us was ourselves. Like, it was this self-confidence that I knew, and it's weird, I've never felt it since. But going onto the field every week, just going, we can't lose today. And the way we played was incredible. Like, it was this great attacking style of footy, but everything we did was practiced. We just had this energy about us that teams couldn't handle, and everyone remembers us for our attacking flair that year. But by the end of the year, we were a great defensive team. I think through the semi-finals and the grand final, we conceded 40 points in 4 games, 10 points a game, and I think people forget that. But by the year, because our attack was so good, it took pressure off our defense as well. And we had this amazing energy where we just worked our ass off for each other. And then, it was just like a fairy tale.
How did you develop your playing style? Because I think you're one of the first to kind of really jump out of dummy half in ball play. I think one play that you guys used to always do was the drop under for a block.
Yeah.
Even coming out, double drops, play at the back. How did you develop that? Was that something personal that just happened, or was that something you actually worked on, or was it an assistant
No,
coach?
we worked on, and Sheensy and Royce were our coaches, and the thing about Sheensy, I think, where you got to give him credit, was he understood the players he had, and he allowed us to showcase our talent. He knew, like, great aspect of my game was being able to show the ball, obviously.
Yeah.
And my dummy, so we did a lot of, like, coming out, like you said, drop plays. We scored a grand final, try in the grand final with LaFranchi off a double drop.
Saw that.
But sometimes instead of giving it to that guy, I'd dummy, play on the outside. The things you saw from Benji were practiced in training, the flick pass, all those things. I remember, I'm not too sure if many other players remember this from that time, but at the start of the year, Sheensy said, and it's quite true, and it was quite a simple theory he had. One was he understood we weren't going to win games 12-8 or 10-6 because of the team we had, right? So he just said, okay, if the opposition is going to score 26 points, we're just going to score 28. How are we going to do that? He said 90% of rugby league is 0, 1, or 2 pass plays. And it probably still is to this day, if you looked at the stats. And he said, what we're going to do, he goes, we're going to pass 3 times, 3 more times. That's the theory of our game, was 3 passes, getting that third pass, because so many teams play with 0 pass, dummy half run, or 1 out hit up to a forward, or a hit up with a tip on, 2 passes. So our whole theory that year was to get that third pass. And that meant players pushing support, players being around the ball, and it just created this energy around our game and a flamboyance, and everyone saw us as an attacking footy team. But it was quite a simple theory.
How did you develop the knack to be so deceptive? You were calm in dummy half as well. Like, you had a good eye for the game, terms of like reading the markers,
Yeah.
when to go, when not to go, how to engage them. How did you develop that?
Just from a young age, I think I had I grew up as a halfback and a 5'8", so I always had that, I guess, that sort of mindset about me. And for me, as a dummy half, I was always counting numbers. I think the best part of my game, or the strongest part of my game, was the ability to count numbers. And that was something I always did. So every time I was walking down, I tried to teach hookers these days when I was coaching about when you go into the ruck, is scanning numbers and scanning, how many numbers on the short side, how many numbers on the long side. Because I knew if there were numbers on the short side, if they've overloaded their short side, I wouldn't even have to look over there.
Sorry to cut you off. I remember we played you in 2013 at Campbelltown round 2. And it's my second year in first grade. And the way you're saying that, I can visually remember how you used to do it as well. Like, it wasn't blatant. Like, you wouldn't be like looking like that, but like, it'll be almost like you're walking into the ruck, but you're using your peripherals, and like, you're kind of just like subtlety looking, like not making it obvious.
And it's funny you say peripherals. I was saying I practice at a young age. Is my peripheral vision is like the subtlety around that is like looking here, but having the ability to sort of see what's going on in the corner of your eye.
Yeah.
But
Because obviously, if you're looking at me like that, okay, like I'm alert. That's a cue. He's looking here. Yeah. He's interested.
Yeah.
So I kind of shape up. But if you don't look at me, I kind of get.
And it's the same. Like it's the same with like a lot of my deception was around markers, and I'd use my eyes on the markers, as I said, like looking out there, pretending I'm going to play. But then if I see a marker over chase, I had the ability to dummy and go myself.
Yeah.
Or likewise is eyeballing a marker to get him interested in me, but then playing short, so like you're getting behind him. So a lot of the stuff you do is with your eyes and your deception and counting numbers. And as I said, that was a big part of my game, was counting numbers on short sides and open sides and things like that. So being able to read a game that way. So that was probably something that I practiced a lot.
I feel like hookers are probably like the nucleus of a team. If you were to teach a young hooker these days on what to do or what to develop in their own game, what would you teach them?
Depends on the style they are. For me, the two things, or a couple of things I worked on, obviously, was, like I said, my deception, the ability to count numbers. Another thing was my kicking game. Being a left foot kicker, I knew that was a rarity.
Yeah,
and it's gold these days. Having a dummy half that can kick, especially with a left foot, because obviously people are predominantly right-footed. So that was a major, I guess, string to my bow. And the other thing that I really had to work on through my career, and I guess gave me longevity and the ability to play 80 minutes week in, week out, was my fitness. Being a hooker, there's no doubt it's the toughest position in the game. Hooker and fullback, you're doing the most running, you're making the most decisions, you touch the ball out of anyone on the footy field, and you make better decisions if you're fitter, and less fatigue. Obviously, fatigue makes cowards of us all, and makes you make, I guess, worse decisions when you're tired. So for me, fitness was a big part of it. When you look back at like guys like myself, Cameron Smith, and that played 80 minutes week in, week out, it's very rare these days. It's very, very hard to do as well. The game's gotten faster as well. So you've got to work on your fitness. And then as my career developed, like I was always known as an attacking hooker, I guess. But the thing that I guess I had to really work on, and towards the end of my career almost turned into my strength, was my defense.
Yep.
I used to get spotted a lot, being a young kid in the middle, smaller kid. You just get big guys running at you, trying to get you tired. Because I was such a attacking threat, I used to hear teams, Robbie's there, run at him, right?
You're a spot.
Whether one, because I was a crap defender, two, because they're just trying to make you make tackles to get you tired. So you got to be prepared for it. And that for me became, at first I hated that. I'd hear them like, they're coming at me again. But then I turned it into, oh, they're coming at me again. Let's go. Like, come at me, run at me, and I turned it into a challenge. And I used to thrive off that. I used to love that. And by the end of my career, I loved my defense. I loved defending. I loved tackling. Whereas at the start of my career, I was just like, give me the ball. I want to set up
showcase.
tries. Yeah. But that mindset shifted for me, and I really turned my defense into one of my strengths.
Who are your closest teammates in your career?
Like now or when I was playing?
Oh, probably when you were playing.
Obviously, like Benji and I had this. It's funny, like we both came through at the same age. He was
Yeah.
a year younger than me, and we both came into first grade at the same time. And we had this like telepathy, like
Yeah. It
mental
was weird.
telepathy,
Yeah, it was
like
weird.
where like it just almost be like a whistle or a nod or whatever. And I knew what he was thinking, and he knew what I was thinking. And I just looked for him on the footy field, and I knew like get him the ball in certain situations, or like he could see me count numbers and he'd know what I was thinking. And that was really because it's very hard to find that with certain players that you play with. So we formed this really, strong connection like on the field where it was just like if I did something, he was there, or if he did something, I was there. That was really cool because that brought out the best in me. And I'd like to think that my ability at 9 brought out the best in him as well. But so many players for different reasons. Like everyone always asks me like the best players I played with, and that's hard because they're all different in their own right. Like I look at 2 guys in particular that if you saw them walking down the street, like you think these guys are not footballers at all. Like Brett Hodgson and Liam Fulton. You see them in the gym. Like Liam Fulton be in the gym trying to bench press 60 kilos, and you're there spotting him, and he's like this.
No way.
Oh mate, it was it was embarrassing. But then you put him on the footy field, and he was like, when you talk about toughness,
Yeah.
like one of the toughest blokes you played with.
Makes
right?
no sense. You see the weakest guys in the gym are normally like the most competitive on the field.
Hodjo was the worst trainer in the world. We'd do fitness in preseason, and he was the most unfit bloke in the world. But then put him on the footy field, and he'd run for 250 meters, and he was tough as nails. He was like, he had a body like Monty Burns. Like we call him Monty Burns, right? Like he was 70 kilos ringing wet, but then he'd get bashed and he'd just keep getting up. Gareth Ellis came over from England, won 3 Keith Barnes medals. Kelly Barnes medals at the Tigers, 3 years in a row, our best player award. And he was just probably one of the best all-round players I played with. Bryce Gibbs, one of my favourite teammates, absolute lunatic, funniest bloke off the field, best bloke on it as well, just old school. Probably should have played back in the 70s and 80s, to be honest. But there's been a lot, playing Origin with, Jared Hayne for me. When Jared wanted to play, he was unstoppable. Like, that year in 2014 when we won the series in State of Origin, he was like, I remember just best player I've ever played with. To play with guys like Greg Bird, Paul Gallen, just tough as nails, Luke Lewis, the Morris boys. Like,
yeah,
there's a lot. I've been fortunate, like you said, I played in different teams.
You just can't rank them, mate.
Yeah, so a lot of good players.
Biggest prankster. I got
to
to
tell
name
you some stories. Oh, you're going to say Beau. Like, there's Beau, obviously.
Did you guys live together?
Yeah, Beau
That is so random.
He still owes me about 3 years' rent. Actually.
That is so random.
And Beau's only got a career now. The career he's got now because of me. So he was living with me. So he was living in. He was driving up from Wollongong every day to train, and I lived at home, and I had a 3-bedroom house, and I was by myself. So I said, just come crash with me. And a couple of days a week turned into 4 days a week, turned into he was living with me full time. And it was fun. We had the best time back then. And he was playing reserve grade. And Beau made it as an NRL player through his professionalism, his training. Like, he was the world's best trainer. Yeah, wasn't the fastest winger or biggest winger or anything, but he was just annoyingly funny. Like, he was funny. And the way you see him on TV is how he is 24/7. To a point where I wanted to kill him at home because he was just relentless, right? You'd never get a break from him. You just leave me the fuck alone. Like, but he was that funny. And I said to my manager at the time, I said, man, I'm living with this bloke. Like, he hadn't played first grade yet. And I said, you've got to get him on the Footy Show. It was back when the Footy Show was still on. I said, mate, he's that funny. Like, they'll love him on there. And he got to start on the Footy Show, and his media career took off from there. He's made a lot more money from media than he ever will playing footy. But Beau's still one of my really close mates. Great bloke, he obviously got to know all my family, and I got to know his family. His family's a beautiful family, and we always check in on each other and stuff. And we had there's some funny stories to tell about us when we lived together. he always tells them on his radio
told me
shows
one.
and that. And
He told me
adds
one.
a lot of GST.
Oh,
He adds
well,
a lot of GST.
let's just clarify right now. So I interviewed him last year, and he obviously shared how you guys were living together and whatnot. And there was one day where you rocked up from training and you were filthy about something, and you're on your computer, and he was talking
the
to
lemon
you.
in the eye.
Yeah, is that true?
Yeah, that's true. And then I just wrestled the shit out of him.
Yeah.
I had him in
So he said he had you. He was on top first, and then he let go, and then you just dominated him.
Please. Have you seen Beau? You think he dominated me? Man, I was that angry. Man, I was sitting there on the computer. He came and I wouldn't listen. Like I was just ignoring him because he was just yapping away. And because I was ignoring him, he went and got a wedge of lemon and came up from behind and just squeezed lemon in my eye. And I was like, fuck. I couldn't even see, and I was furious. And he ran, and I remember I chased him down and I had him in a headlock for about half an hour. That was a normal day in the household. It was fun.
Did Ben Tier rock up as well a bit later?
I think Benny Teo rocked up a bit later as well, yeah.
That is good.
Yeah.
Speaking of the footy show, you guys, I remember this clear as day. You did a segment at your restaurant.
At my restaurant,
At
yeah.
Leichhardt. What was it called again? Tiger?
Like a tiger.
Like a Tiger.
Yeah.
And you guys were eating. I think it was Dean Hallertau you were with? Anyway. And
No, I was in the studio. I was in the
you went
studio.
there?
Beau was Beau was at the restaurant with
two of the
Mark
boys.
Flanagan and
That's right.
Tim Moulton.
Like, he used to cop it, man. He used to cop it. And like he trashed the place, broke
Trashed it.
plates, sauced up the walls.
Yeah.
Were you filthy? Or did you know what was going on?
I didn't know what was going on. It was a complete surprise. It was a complete surprise. But they were their plates. Like they brought in, the Greek plates that break.
Yeah.
They end up cleaning it all up. The person that was most filthy about that was Mark Flanagan. So Mark Flanagan was sitting at the table. If you watch the clip, if you could probably bring it up, Beau sprays tomato sauce all over Mark Flanagan. Right. And Flano was furious. We call him Flash. Flash was furious. Anyway, and then like 2 weeks after at training, Flash gets tomato sauce. It was like a 40-degree day. It was that hot. And we were at training, and Flash gets tomato sauce, and on the bonnet.
There it is.
And
so you were in the studio.
I was in the studio. Anyway, you watch if you forward it. Over a while, I don't know, yeah, just here. You watch. He gets the tomato sauce. Watch this. Right? Watch. Now he does all over his face, right? And he was furious. So Flash gets tomato sauce. We're at training one day, and on the bonnet of Beau's car in tomato sauce writes "calm as a bitch."
No
Right.
way.
And so this tomato sauce is like frying in the sun all day on top of Beau's car. So when Beau got it washed off, on the bonnet of Beau's car was imprinted "calm as a bitch." Yeah, that's the true story.
Oh, that is unreal. That is unreal. Far out,
Yeah.
man. What a good time. I did what's in the
Yeah,
kitchen.
but all these plates, they were their
Look,
plates. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Oh, my God. Man, when I look back, he got away with so much. You couldn't get
Couldn't do
away
it
with
these days.
Nah, no way.
You should be able to do it, but you can't.
Nah,
Unfortunately.
fuck, the world's too soft,
Mm.
unfortunately. Obviously, you played a few good years after that. You end up leaving, going to Souths. But you only there for a year and a half. Like,
Yeah.
why do you? I know people like to say, like, whenever they look at you, they think of Tigers. Whenever they look at me, they think of Panthers. Like, we're kind of embedded with a club.
Mhm.
Why do you think your time didn't really work out at Souths?
Yeah, it's just the way it happened. I guess I went there in 2017 and didn't have the best year. Like I when I was leaving the Tigers, I was either going the Sharks or Souths. I narrowed it down to those two. And for me as a hooker, I always wanted to play with the best fullbacks because for me, your fullbacks were your eyes and your ears. And one of the biggest incentives for me to go to Souths was to play with GI.
Yeah.
Went to Souths, round 1, 2017. We're playing the Tigers at Homebush. GI does his knee after
I remember
15
that.
minutes.
Off a kick
ACL,
chase.
gone for the year. So the whole reason I've gone to South, one of the main reasons I've gone to Souths was to play with GI, and he's done his ACL. He's out for the year. And we end up having a pretty poor year. Didn't make the semis. Madge got sacked at the end of that year. And then 2018, Anthony Seabold took over. And credit to Seabs, because Damien Cook was there at the time. And in 2017, Madge had me and Cookie sharing the role, which didn't really work out for me because I'm an 80-minute hooker. I like controlling the game, getting a feel for the game in the middle of the field. And sharing that game with Cookie, I just never brought out the best in me. And then credit to Siebes, like he was real honest with me. I came back from the World Cup in 2017 and he said, look, I want to play one hooker this year. Cookie's got first crack. He said, and if another club comes in for you, like I won't stand in your way. He's like, you're not a reserve grader. I want you hanging around the NRL team. But like I'll let you go if an opportunity comes up. And at least he was completely honest with me. And to this day, I completely respect Siebes. Because as an athlete, that's all you want is honesty, right?
100%.
So I knew where I stood. He never made me really play reserve grade. I played once every month or so just for match fitness. Other than that, he had me in the coach's box with him. He had me training with NRL. And then I got a couple of games during the Origin period because Cookie got picked for New South Wales. Played a couple of games during the Origin period, and then Ivan, who was coaching the Tigers, he got the job, and then he called me and says, like, "Do you want to come back?" And
Wow.
for me, it was a no-brainer. You know, obviously, I left the Tigers the first time unwillingly. Like, I never wanted to leave. Everyone sort of knows what happened at the time. I wish I never left because of the way things unfolded. But yeah, I did. And then, you know, for me to go back there and finish my career, I think, was a nice way to finish my career. It was where I belonged. The Tigers, like, yeah, it's funny. Like you talk about, you were known as Josh from Penrith and myself. I remember I was at and South were a great club. They took me in with open arms. Everyone made me feel really welcome. Great people at that club. You know, rich history. But I never really felt like I was part of the fabric there.
Yeah.
And I remember a fan day we had at Souths, and we were sitting like lined up on the, you know, in front of all the fans, and they walked past, and a Souths fan had their jersey, and can't remember who was sitting either side of me, but they skipped across me. They're like, they didn't want me to sign their Souths jersey. They're like, "Oh, you're Robbie from the Tigers." And I remember that day. I was like, like that's a bit.
That's dumb.
That's a bit shit. Yeah, like, and I was like, but that was that's how people saw me, and even some of the South people still saw me as Robbie from the Tigers, and maybe I saw myself that way, and maybe that's why I never played my best footy at South. But yeah, I'm proud to have put on those colours because, as I said, a lot of great people at that club. But then also grateful that Siebes gave me the opportunity to go back and finish my career at the Tigers.
For sure. I actually can't remember. I can't believe I forgot to ask you this. You're not known to be a fighter at all. You're a lover. You know, you're a lover. We all know that. Yeah, like me. In 2009, you caught a lot of people by surprise and absolutely flogged Anthony Watts. What happened?
Well, he caught me by surprise.
Oh, okay.
So he king hit me in that scrum, and to be honest, I had no reason why. Like, honestly, I don't know. I did nothing to him. Hand on heart, I actually did absolutely nothing. And then we scored off that scrum. Benji scored in the corner. And I remember, like, I fell to the ground and he'd cut me open, and I looked up and I saw the replay on the screen, and I went up to the ref, it was Shane Hayne, and I said, "Mate, if you don't do something about this, like, I'm going to." And he never sent him to the sin bin or anything, and I was furious, right?
Yeah.
So then we scored, so they kicked off to us, and then the next set we dropped the ball, and we got to the scrum, and he was still yapping away at me, and I just said, I'm not copping that. You can't, like, hit me and not retaliate, right? Like, at the end of the day, I need to stand up for myself.
We can't do that these days.
Anyway, yeah, you can't. And then we were yapping away, and then I think Bryce Gibbs and I think John Scandalis were my front rowers, and they heard us yapping away. And Gibbo, being Gibbo, he's like, "You guys, do you want me to deck him?" I said, "No." I said, "Like, he's mine." I said, "Just make sure you hold their front rowers so I've got a clean shot at him."
But didn't you lay some into you first?
He laid into me in that first scrum.
Yeah.
This is the next scrum. So I said to Gibbo, I said, "Make sure you hold their front rowers so that I've got a free shot at him." So, and then Shane Hayne could hear us yapping away, and he goes, "Boys, just keep it short and sweet." And he's talking about the scrum. And I looked at it, I said, "Don't worry, I will. Don't worry, I'll keep it short and sweet." So I've packed in and I've taken my left arm, I'm left-handed, taken my left arm under, and then you see Bryce and that hold their front rowers, like Steve Southern and whoever it was. And I've just started laying uppercuts into him. And I think no one really expected that from me. So at the time, everyone was like, "Whoa," sort of thing. But I think it was what I had to do, right? Leichhardt Oval, Sunday afternoon. You can't just cop being hit for no reason. So I had to stand up for myself. We both got sent to the sin bin for 10. And the funny, like, we were losing 8-0 at the time. We we started the game really shit. We were low on energy.
Yeah.
But that sort of sprung us into life. We ended up beating them by 30 that day. I scored the last try of the game, which was pretty nice feeling, and rubbed salt into their wound.
Yeah,
but it's funny, like, for everything I've done in my career, like you said, 300 games, whatever, if I get stopped on the street, 8 out of 10 times, it's about that fight. People always remember that moment for some reason.
Isn't that crazy?
Bring back the Biff.
Bro, his head was beaten up to a pole bed. You got him good. You got him
I
good.
I was angry. I was still hitting him when he was on the ground. I was that's the thing. Like, if you make me angry and I got that Lebanese
You got
clicker
the
in me.
switch.
The
You got
switch.
it's hard for you to recover.
Yeah.
Did you guys shake hands after? Or no?
I can't remember, to be honest. Honestly, don't remember.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Leichhardt, obviously you did so much for the club. Leichhardt is where you started. And I feel like with players, like, you always want that fairy tale finish. You know, we saw Joshy Reynolds get it as well at Belmore, got carried out. You got to spend a bit of a moment on the hill there at the Wayne Pearce stand.
On the scoreboard.
On the scoreboard there. Like, you couldn't have asked for a better ending to your career. How was that day for yourself?
My last day, like my last
Last
day.
game.
That was crazy. I don't even know that story. But I was never supposed to play. And the way it turned out was, I think I got interviewed after the game on the field, and I said I was like a movie, just with a shit ending. I really thought we were destined to win that game after everything that happened. So I'd broken my leg. I played my 300th game, announced my retirement, and then we're playing the Bulldogs on the week later, and thought I did my ACL, like hyperextended my leg. Had an MRI the next day, and I had a fracture, depression fracture in my knee. 12-week injury. So I remember getting the results, and I was on the phone with my brother, who's a physio, and he told me, and I remember just bawling my eyes out. I was like, I'm never going to play again. Like, my career's over. But then I regathered myself. I thought, you know what? If this is the way it's going to end, I'm going to give myself every opportunity to play. It was 4 weeks till our last game, and I thought, I remember I was icing my leg. I was taking all these, like, collagen, all these different supplements, like, doing everything I could. I thought, I'm not going to leave any stone unturned. And then come the last week, we're playing the Sharks to get into the semis, and then Pete Musa was our physio. He's like, we'll just build it up as the week goes, see how your knee feels. I had another scan. It was still broken. But it's funny, the power of the mind. Like, I was so determined to play that I just blocked out all the pain.
Wow.
And on the Monday, Pete goes, we'll have a bit of a run, see how it feels. And I said, look, I'm doing a fitness test today. If I can't get through the fitness test, I'll rule myself out today because I don't want to leave the team hanging. So I went to Concord, did a whole fitness test. I was getting up and down off the ground, changing directions, doing everything. Pete couldn't believe it. He's like, fuck, how did you just do that? Anyway, he's like, I think you can play. I was like, yeah, I'm sweet. Like, I can play. Anyway, Madge made the decision on the Tuesday. He wasn't going to play me. He's like, too much of a risk. We'll win this week without you. Save yourself for the semi-final next week. As hard as that was to hear, because I thought, if we lose this week, I'm done. I don't get to play again. He's like, but I'll keep you in the squad just to keep the Sharks guessing. So is he going to play? Isn't he going to play? So they kept me in the squad, but the whole team knew I wasn't playing. On the Tuesday, I wasn't playing. My family knew I wasn't playing. Excuse me. Everyone knew I wasn't playing. Anyway, so then got to captain's run on the Saturday, and I was just helping out. I was still in the squad, 19-man squad. The media was going on all week. Is Robbie going to play? Is he going to play? And then Madge goes, just bring your boots tomorrow just in case. Like, you never know. So that night, the night before, my brother flew down from Brisbane because it was my last game anyway, like at Leichhardt. So I was doing like a lap of honour and all those things. I thought, I'm going to enjoy the day. I remember staying up with my brother, having a few glasses of whiskey and watching the Ashes till about 2 a.m. And then I woke up the next day, game day, and I thought, I'll get there nice and early. I like getting to Leichhardt early and watching the crowd roll in. I was in my tracksuit, and then we were doing warm-up, and I remember we're out on the field, and I was throwing balls to Luke Brooks, who was doing his kicking. I was in my tracksuit, and then Craig Sandercock, our assistant coach, comes up to me and he goes, go get your boots on. I was like, what? I thought he was actually joking. He goes, go get your boots. He goes, Tubbsy's just done his calf, Corey Thompson. I was like, serious? He goes, mate, get inside now. So I ran. You see me go inside into the change rooms.
No way.
And Corey Thompson's doing a fitness test, gets ruled out, and they're like, get ready, like get dressed, you're playing. And I'm just like, what? Couldn't believe it. I was like, shit, like this is meant to be. Like
You would have been
I
heightened.
was heightened. And then
Yeah.
Moses Mbai's in there with me because he wasn't playing either. He was injured. And he's grabbed me. He's like, mate, this is the best ever. You're going to win us the game. And I go, Moe, shut the fuck up. I go, I need to calm myself down. I need to get my head around playing. I need to like calm my emotions because everything was just going at 100 mile an hour. Anyway, and I got dressed to play. The boys came in from warm up. They didn't know what was going on. News started to filter through the ground that I was playing. My family were like, "He's not playing. What are you talking about?" And then it was the Fox Sports camera was on me in the change rooms, and they're like, "Oh my god, like he's playing, whatever." And it was just this whirlwind. In the end, Madge left me on the bench. By the time I got on in the second half, the game was over. It was like 22-4. I wish, in hindsight, he'd started me and just like let me play because the energy and the adrenaline would have just got me through.
Yeah.
We ended up losing. So like I said, it was a shit ending, but pretty crazy way to finish. I guess like the rest of my career was pretty crazy. But yeah, got out on the field in that last game, and then that was it. It was all over.
When you were sinking cans at the scoreboard, like what was going through your mind?
Well, that was the first time I left. That was in 2016.
Oh, it was too.
That
Why did I
wasn't-
keep
that wasn't
reflecting
after-
to that? I connected.
That was after I got the ask from the Tigers the first time and before I went to South. So that for me, like that was, again, I don't want to go back and talk about that year because it was a pretty messed up year and still don't understand sort of what happened, to be honest. But then that for me was just a time, that happened by chance as well. So the scoreboard attendant, his name's Big Baz, he runs Leichhardt. And then after the game, I was signing autographs and he came over to me, he goes, oh, look at the scoreboard. And he put up there 247, which was the number of games I played at Tigers, which is how we got the name for the business, 247.
I was going to ask you that.
Yeah, so when I
makes sense
finished
now.
at the Tigers the first time, I'd finished on 247 games, which is how we came up with the business name 247. So on the scoreboard, he put 247, You'll Never Walk Alone, Faf, which is my nickname, whatever. And I was like, that's pretty cool. So I actually went up there to take a photo in front of the scoreboard with the message he'd put up there for me. And then when I was up on the scoreboard, the canteen's underneath the scoreboard and the fridge was open. So someone threw a can of cider or a beer up to me. And I was like, this is pretty cool. And the sun was going down over the grandstand. And I just sat down to have a drink. And then one by one, like a couple of mates came up there with me and my family and that. And I ended up sitting out there for about 2 hours. I had about 12 drinks. And it was just this really cool moment where I just got to reflect on my career. And everyone sees that picture as like a sort of like a sad, other people see it as a sad picture, I guess, or something. But for me, it was actually really cool. Like just having that moment up there because that was and even to this day, I always say I want my ashes buried at Leichhardt Oval. Like I love that place. Like the memories I've had there as a kid, made my NRL debut there, played my last game of footy there. Like I just love that place. Like, so for me to sit up there on that scoreboard for a couple of hours and just think back over my journey, what at that time I thought was my last time I was ever going to be there, was pretty cool, and it was captured in a pretty cool photo. Yeah, so that's a nice memory for me. Yeah, it's good.
How good's that?
Yeah.
Let's have a bit of fun now.
Huh.
So I obviously sent you the script, but there's a part of it I didn't send you.
Oh God.
And it's backed by popular demand. People were asking for it, so we're going to give it to them. It's called Truth or Sauce. Pretty simple. I'm going to ask you two questions.
Okay.
All right. You either answer them truthfully, or you have to have a hot chip with. Where is it? Somewhere in here. My hot sauce.
Oh, perfect. I like hot sauce.
It's good body, eh?
Mm.
It's nice. Do you like hot sauce?
I love chili.
Oh fuck! Oh,
How hot is
this
it?
is not going to be fun. It's pretty hot. It's pretty hot. Well, let's just see how we
let's see
go.
what the questions are first.
But the beauty of it is, you can ask me anything.
Ooh.
You can ask me whatever you want.
Okay.
And so it's tip for tat, really. All right.
Okay.
All right. Question one. Okay.
How many questions? Two.
Just two questions.
Okay.
Just two questions. So you've actually answered this before, but you know what? Let's just ask it again. A lot's been made about your falling out with Jason Taylor. From your side, what really happened that led you to leave the Tigers?
Oh, that's a long story. No.
Let's get the bowl of chips. he's not going to answer it. Hold on.
I don't even know if I want to answer. Who's Jason Taylor?
Oh, he used to coach you at the Tigers. I think he's assistant coach for the Dogs now.
I don't even want to talk about that.
Done. Grab a chip, brother.
Let's go.
I'll load it up. Here we go.
Yeah, that's all right.
I knew I was going to get you.
Oh, that's got a bit of a kick to it, doesn't
Does
it?
it?
Yeah.
I think I put too much. I'm sorry.
Maybe I should answer the question. Oh.
You said you like chili.
It's going to hurt.
Wash it down with some arak. Oh, do you want to answer? Do you want to ask the kind of speak now? I'm laughing too much. Do you want me
Not
to?
too bad.
Oh, it's all right.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah, it's got a delayed kick. Should have said
No,
that before.
it's all good.
Second question. You answer this one, I reckon. Can't recall the year, but you went on the Matty Johns show with Braith and Asta, and you copped an absolute grilling from Matty. Did that blindside you, and did that actually piss you off?
100%. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty poor.
Yeah. So he was all nice to me in the green room and that before. Like, this would be easy. I think Matty, he was just starting back then.
Yeah.
And I don't know whether he was trying to make a name for himself and stuff. Anyway, I went on there and he just started coming at me with this line of questioning, with this tone. He started calling our team soft, and I didn't like it. And I stood up to him, and Braith was there. Braith was like, "What's going on here?"
Yeah.
And you just see him. He's just looked like a stunned mullet. And I remember Matty. He just started coming at me, and I said, "Matty, people have got their opinion of you too, mate," because he'd been through a bit of shit beforehand as well. But I wasn't going to cop that. Like, I was captain of the club, and if I needed to defend my team and my teammates, and he was calling us soft, and I wasn't going to cop it. So I was very angry, angry.
What was the aftermath like?
Oh, I was furious. I can't remember what I said to him or whatever. I just didn't appreciate. I didn't appreciate it because, as you said, I was completely blindsided, and I knew what he was trying to do. Like, afterwards, I knew what he was trying to do, and he wanted to get a reaction out of me, and he did. So yeah, never been on great terms with Fox Sports ever since. Never been on great terms with a lot of journos ever since.
Have you spoken since?
Yeah, I've seen him since and that. I've seen him since.
Water for ducks, back.
Yeah, I've had my run-ins with Gordy, with him, with.
I forgot about that. Yeah, everyone from Fox just coming at you.
There's a million people, journos. I can hold a grudge too.
You know what? I can as well. I think it's a Lebanese thing.
Yeah, I can hold a grudge. Don't worry about that. So there's a lot of people in the game I don't talk to. But that's the type of person. If you do wrong by me, then don't. Like, we're not mates.
Yeah.
Like, so let's not pretend to be mates.
Exactly. Because I messaged Braith about it, and I go, "Do you remember this?" And he's like, "Fuck it, I do." And he's like,
so
awkward.
It was so awkward.
I go, if I was to ask him, would he answer? He goes, "Yeah, he should." But fucking hell, man, it caught us all off guard.
Yeah, it caught me off guard.
It was early in the season, though. It was very early in the season, wasn't it? It was like May, or maybe it was March.
Yeah. It was 2012, I think, because we were Premiership favourite. I remember he's like, "Oh, you were Premiership favourites at the start of the year, and you haven't lived up." I said, "Oh, who made us Premiership favourites?"
Yes.
And then he just started calling us soft. He's like, "Oh, they went through your defence like butter, like a hot knife through butter." And it was very inappropriate. Yeah, it was very personal, very, very inappropriate. So anyway,
moving on.
Good times.
Good times.
You can laugh about it now.
Exactly. Exactly. You can ask me anything you want.
Ooh. What's the biggest regret of your career? Because I know what it should be.
Why should it be?
When you brushed us.
Oh, here we go.
Tell us why.
Well, who's us?
Lebanon.
Okay.
Rugby League in the 2017 World Cup. When I rang you before and I said, "Don't play for Australia. You're going to be an emu.
Yeah.
If you play with us, you can make an impact." And in the end, we lost the quarterfinal against Tonga, which I reckon we would have won. We lost by 2 points.
Yeah.
And I reckon we would have won if you were playing for us.
Yeah. Okay.
And tell us what it was like that night when you played against Lebanon and you were copping abuse.
Oh, man.
From us, from the players, from the fans.
I hated to be Lebanese that night. That's the honest truth. I was fucking so angry. All right. So context: 2016, I was with the Kangaroos, right? And overseas on tour. 2016 was a great year. Got married, whatnot, and then I ended up doing my ACL on tour. So I cut my tour short. Bad ending, right? In the back of my mind, I was like, "Fuck, that's it. My opportunity is done. Done my ACL. One of the worst injuries you can do in the game. I'm not gonna, I knew the World Cup was next year. There's no chance I'm going to get an opportunity again because I'm only playing half the season, right? Anyway, I played pretty good towards the back end of the year. Played prelims, whatnot. To be honest, I wasn't really thinking about. I had little to no hope that I was going to get picked again. And then I remember I was just sitting down. I remember I was in conversations with you and playing for Lebanon. And then I remember Mal calls me and he goes, "Listen, mate, I want you back in. I want you to play, blah, blah, blah." And without even thinking, without any hesitation, I was like, "Yeah, I'm in 100%," because I wanted to kind of make up for those moment I had with the Kangaroos the year before. Obviously, playing in Australia, in my eyes, to represent the birth of my country was probably the pinnacle. And I didn't have the mindset of going to camp to be an emu. Like, I wanted to really fight for my spot within the team. I don't think I only played 2 or 3 games on the tour, whatever. So I was technically an emu. We won the World Cup, but I wouldn't say it's a regret because that's putting disrespect on playing for the green and gold. But it was a moment where I think back, I'm like, okay, like if I did play for Lebanon, what would that have done for myself, for my family? And yeah, like that night was tough for me. Like it was tough because um, it was a weird feeling, like playing you boys.
Mm.
I did feel like not a traitor, but I feel like I did turn my back on you in a way. But at the same time, I was like, nah, I'm representing Australia. Like I stand by that decision, and I got to live with it.
Yeah.
But the reaction was a bit overboard. Like it was fucking overboard. Like the whole stadium was fucking booing me. It was fucked. And I was also getting messages like attacking my family, attacking
really?
me. It was bad. It was pretty bad. I even remember there was a section of the crowd, and it was mixed with my mates, schoolmates, and the chant was like, "I am a kalb," which I'm a dog. And I know you, if the roles were reversed, you would feel the exact same way because we're almost identical in the mindset we have. And I remember after the game, I did the right thing when I shook everyone's hands, taking photos with fans. And I got to that section and they all wanted to come and hug me and shake my hand. And I told them, "You all can get fucked. Don't ever talk to me ever again."
Yeah,
And I just walked off. And I remember being in that shed and we won 30-0. It didn't feel like a win to me.
Mm.
I was so fucking angry. I know I've dropped a lot of F-bombs and
That's
I'm sorry about it. But yeah, that moment I was just like, far out. Like, I didn't realize what I did was wrong. I didn't think what I did was wrong.
No, it wasn't wrong.
You know what I mean?
Of course it wasn't.
But it felt like I was portrayed like as this traitor. Like it was bad. It was really bad. But that's, yeah. Why'd you bring that
50
up?
grand would have made it easier.
Can we wrap now? Wrap this up? Now, well, listen, brother. Let's pick up our glass of arak that you haven't touched.
To get rid of the chili.
I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show. You're a legend of the game. You're one of my best mates. You've done so much for Lebanon Rugby League. You've done so much for the Tigers. You are a legend of that club, mate. And I just want to say thank you so much for coming on the show, brother.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Get suck.
We scull it?
No way.